In this video, we go in search of ghost towns, amazing views, high mountain lakes, and we tackle the Buffalo Hump Trail. We found everything we were looking for on this trip. We spent 2 days on top of the mountain.
All right, we're on our annual fall trip of the year. We got the TJ and Jeremy brought his big O burbs. We just pulled onto the gravel road. That's not to say that the paved road wasn't super scenic and awesome too, but we're finally out in the woods. We're gonna be heading up this gravel road through an old mining town called Oro Grand, and then to Wild Horse Lake, and then to Buffalo Hump. The road up to Buffalo Hump is supposed to be pretty difficult. At least the side-by-side guys don't seem to think we'll make it. We don't think we'll have a problem, but we'll see what we get into. There's supposed to be a lot of old mining camps and structures up here. Currently, we're standing in Oro Grand, which is an old ghost town. There's still a fair amount of structures standing. This old miners' cabins. So we're gonna walk around a little bit. Really impressive, you know, these have been here since the 30s, and that they're still, you know, somewhat standing, or some of them are still completely standing. Got your outhouse. Man, this one's impressive. They have 2 outhouses.
This one's still hard.
Oh man, you're like so close to falling in that hole. This cabin back here looks pretty intact. I mean, this, you could stay in this one if you're gutsy enough, desperate enough. It's got a roof. Oh my god, look at those rat nests. Yeah, no, you couldn't stay in this one, never mind. Walking over to this other cabin. Here's an old car, maybe 2. Nice. Here's another structure. Watch out for nails. Ceiling's collapsing in this one. Here's another intact one. I think there's about six cabins standing. See the rat turds all over in this one. Had running water at some point. What's really cool is that these are just right off the side of the road. So anybody can make it back here. The road into this point is just a gravel Forest Service road. So if you wanted to come check out these cabins, you take a right, I believe, off State Highway 14 and take Crooked Creek Road up to this point. This one's pretty cool. This one looks like it was a business or something at some point. We're driving through some designated campgrounds and some you know, cabins that are still being used today. In this area, you can see it had a really bad wildfire at some point, and it took out some of the structures that were already here. And there was a big building, a hotel, that I was really hoping to see, but I guess Jeremy was just saying that that did burn down in that fire, so unfortunately we don't get to see that. We decided to go up to Hump Lake first and find our campsite. The sign at the beginning of the road said not recommended for 2-wheel drive vehicles, which is definitely the kind of sign we like to see. Well, he may not be driving his Jeep, but that's not gonna stop Jeremy from having to pop the hood. What you got going on? I'm gonna do a carb adjustment. We've gone up quite a ways in elevation. We went up and then down, and now we're going back up again. So the old square body's not running 100%. But luckily Jeremy's a mechanic. He'll get that sorted out in no time. Let's go, run, run, run. Please don't. Jeremy finally turned in his hubs. Try applying a little brake.
I know I'll get mixed answers, but I'm curious, do you guys prefer to have music in the background throughout the whole video, just in a few spots, or do you prefer the sound of the tires on the rocks and the sound of the vehicles? Let me know and post a comment below.
Oh yeah, there's a good section up here, huh? Settle down. Pour a little 10-bolt in the front. Oh no. We found a new trail ornament. Check this out.
That thing's nice, too.
Shoot, man, that sucks.
Upper and lower ball joint. Oh no, that's still.
Bam. Okay, so it looks like this guy had a pretty bad day. Let's see if we can make it a little bit better. We're gonna leave him an empty pocket sticker. I would think it's cool.
It would have been nice to be able to help the guy with the side-by-side, but he was nowhere to be seen. So we continued on to the top of the mountain and headed to our campsite for the night.
To the spot I have marked on the map as a possible camp. Once we crested the top, it kind of opened up into these meadows, and we're like riding a ridge line between Just two big drop-offs. Real scenic. Take a look at the camp. Wow. All right, go look at this view. Wow.
My Suburban. It is cool.
All right, we're hanging out at camp. Thought I'd show you guys around and you know, briefly talk about the rigs that we're using. So this is my 03 TJ, probably the worst overland platform you can have. Stuffing the gear in there was really difficult. You know, it's just small, at least in comparison to something like that, where Jeremy was able to sleep inside of it on a sleeping platform. Super comfy, even has a heater in there. And I'm in my little A-frame tent, which, I mean, I enjoy it. It was a lot of fun. Jeremy's calling it my homeless camp because I use a tarp instead of an awning. But I have one of those 8-foot awnings, just like his, but I think it would take the whole length of the TJ if I mounted it on there. I'll show you inside. So I built this rack right before the trip. You can see it goes all the way across. It actually worked out well. The cooler sits on here. I have just enough room to get into it. I was able to unzip and unclip my window and throw it over the top. And then I got the tarp here in case it rains. But as you can see, there wasn't a lot of room for stuff, so, you know, unpacking, everything ends up kind of being everywhere. And then I got just some foam mattresses in there. It was okay comfortable. But as far as, you know, overlanding goes, this is not an ideal rig. In comparison, you have this rig. It's a 1986 Chevy Silverado Suburban. He's got the 8-foot awning on there. That rack is actually the rack off of my XJ that burned down. He made some modifications and made it run almost the full length of the Suburban. He's got some 35-inch tires on Duramax wheels. 4 to 6 inches of lift.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
3/4 ton swap.
3/4 ton swapped. This is just a super clean rig. I got to drive it for about a mile down the trail yesterday. And I gotta say, having that extra space, you know, to stretch your legs out in, and just the bigger interior is a lot more comfortable. Really clean for an 80s rig.
It was pretty well taken care of. Some local outfitter had it, so they never really used it. Just hauled a few guys around in it.
Looks super nice in there. It looks super cozy. Got our table. We were able to make breakfast. He rigged up a water system. It plumbs off of his spare tire up there for air to pressurize it, and it gives you just enough water pressure. You know, you could wash your hair with it, or we've been using it to wash our hands and clean dishes and stuff. Got the barn doors in the back. And you rigged up this sleeping platform just for this trip, right?
Yeah, night before, threw it together.
Yeah.
I wanted the extra room off to the side to get my bike in there.
Yeah, so we brought our mountain bikes. I got mine strapped on the back, which was kind of in the way. That was the other downside to my Jeep, is I got 2 jerry cans on the back. I got a 35-inch spare. I got the bike, the cooler, and it sagged it so bad. You can see I got some of my tire clearance back just with losing some of the gear out of the back.
everything is tight fit on that compared to this. You got, you know, he's able to sleep, pulled his bike out, and he's got all this storage there, room to move around. Didn't have to completely empty everything out of the inside to just, you know, set up camp.
Pulled the cooler out. That's my stool to get in, and then the table and some cooking utensils.
Got the trash bag off the side. It was hanging off the back on the way up. That's always handy to have. Got the high lift, the water system, spare tire, kind of just everything you need for a weekend of fun, right? Had the chainsaw. We had to use it last night. There was a couple dead trees that we didn't notice until after we set up camp, but they were, you know, leaning over my tent. And the wind started to pick up. We started looking around, and I was like, oh, that's a widowmaker is what they call them, right? Yeah. Super clean rig, and you guys saw already it did the job coming up. Still have a lot of plans for it, right?
Yep. Getting all the little stuff figured out. Still trying to keep it that classic look, but get some modern stuff on it.
Do some slider steps.
Yep.
Maybe a winch.
Want some decent lights. These old halogen lights aren't quite cutting it. So I'll do upgrade the headlights to something LED, and then probably put some LEDs across the rack. Maybe some camp lights around it.
Yeah, I had 360 degrees of lights when I had the rack on my XJ. That was super nice, super handy.
I added the airbags to the back. That really helped carry all that extra weight.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty bouncy with those leaf springs.
Oh yeah, you can feel it. Not used to leaf springs, man.
But at the end of the day, so we're both on 35s. These are the metric equivalent. Coming up here, I bottomed out a few times. That TJ is stock height, you know, stock suspension. It's got a body lift on it is all. And those 35s, the Highlines and all that, there's videos about that. But I still scraped a few times and landed on rocks. And you were saying the only thing you hung up on was that corporate 14 bolt in the back that hangs so low.
They're pretty known for that.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of guys shave them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good camp setup. Now we're gonna go ahead and tear down. At least we're gonna take down my Jeep, which essentially is just taking down my tarp, and then we're gonna jump in that and burn up to the top of this road and see what's up there. The map says there's jumbo camp. This whole time that we've been up here, we haven't seen anybody. There are some cabins up here, and we saw the broken down side by side. And this morning, a side by side, we could hear it running along the road over there. Jeremy could see it just briefly through the trees, but I haven't seen a person at all.
No.
Super nice. Last night was very windy, and then it just went dead silent. No wind, nothing.
You get up this high and it's just not quite eerie, but it's almost it's a different world at 8,000 feet.
Pretty relaxing though, super stress-free.
Yeah, an amazing view.
The views are awesome. Found a little side trail coming up here, and just look how awesome this is. A little off camber, nice, tight and wooded. Amazing views. Look at that mountain over there. Just awesome. Well, we finally ran into a couple other guys on four-wheelers. They were up here just having a good time too. We're on this tight wooded trail. Pretty awesome. And I just looked down and noticed my fuel light is on. So I'm really glad I brought that extra 10 gallons of fuel. It might be just because it's so steep and the gauge isn't reading accurate. All right, we're hanging out at Jumbo Camp. There's an outhouse here to use. which is, you know, I'm super thankful for that. And I just wanted to share a little interesting story for you guys. You saw the road we came in on, how tight it was, how rocky it was. And this is a Forest Service outhouse up here at the top of this road. This is the only way to get into this location. And for those of you that don't know, my family owns a septic company, and they actually wanted my dad to bring his septic truck, two-wheel drive, you know, medium duty FL70 with a 3,000 gallon tank on it, up that road to service this outhouse. And luckily at the bottom, he had ran into some Jeepers, and they were like, yeah, we had to air down to get up that trail. There's no way you're getting up it. So that's just your fun story for the day. I thought that was super interesting. Now Jeremy said he found some cool stuff off in the trees. Let's go check it out. So we're walking down this trail that Jeremy found, and here's an old car. Earlier it was funny, I was just saying, oh, I'd love to find an old car up here.
I'd like to know what they are.
I mean, what is that?
Something old.
Someone's gonna know what that is.
This is the front. I don't know, but I'm gonna guess it's a Model. It can't be a Model T. That's not a pickup bed. Is this a Model A?
This looks like a car to me.
This looks like a car. There's the steering box. So this was the front. Oh, this is the trunk. This is the back. So this would have sat back here. Leave it to me. I'm putting it together. Well, there's a leaf spring. We got a little of these there. That's why it made it up here, but they broke a leaf spring. It's gonna happen to me on the way down.
Where's the rest of it?
No motor.
There's got to be more sitting here somewhere. Dude, that's cool.
Just get set here. I got
There's some cable too.
So what they have that must have been sitting up here, and I mean, look at all this cable everywhere. They had to have been cable and stuff over here. And there's that little rail car.
Oh yeah, wow. So here's the winch. And then there's a mining cart down here. Wow, that is cool.
How's something like that up here?
It's thick metal.
I'm assuming that would have had
There's
little
a
rails.
track right there.
Oh yeah, there is. Holy cow.
There's the winch. Here's the cable coming down the hill. Pretty awesome place to come work every day. Nice. That's pretty much it for camp. We got it all broke down. I still have to load my stuff up in the Jeep. I'm going to go ahead and add 5 gallons of fuel right now. pretty rough road. There's a few spots that I would consider a trail. I might try taking a stock rig up this, but you should definitely have support and know what you're doing. As we showed earlier, what happens if you come up here and your rig is not well equipped, you end up stuck at the side of the trail like the guy on the side-by-side who is still here. Broken ball joint. Hopefully he had support and was able to get a ride out, and they're on their way back at some point with ball joints. Jeremy spotted another old mining relic. It's about halfway down the mountain, maybe more. That thing is cool. Not even quite sure what it is. Oh, there's more stuff over here.
Oh yeah.
got a bunch of tubes coming out this side.
This is the last of what could be considered an obstacle on this trail. We're making our final climb out, heading back to the trailhead. And you know, sometimes it's just these easy obstacles that are a lot of fun. You know, you're not gonna damage your rig. It's just a nice, easy climb out.
Well, we're back out on the Forest Service Road. It's easy going from here out. We're gonna stop filming. We're at the junction that either goes to Wild Horse Lake or where we just came from. We're skipping Wild Horse Lake this trip. Both of us are kind of ready to get home. The rigs did great. It's pretty awesome when you can have such a great weekend with amazing views and pretty cool trail and not even have to pull a winch line or break anything. No flat tires, anything.
Little sore, rough road, but other than that,
pretty sore from being bounced
really
around.
good.
I never did air down. I completely forgot about it. And by the time I remembered, I was like, that's not even worth it. My body's probably gonna disagree. It might have been worth it. But overall, awesome weekend. Great camping, really cool trail, and just amazing views. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.